Paddock Wood.
Well, here we are. We're back on the rails again, and this time we are heading a little bit further down the Medway line. You joined us last time, and you would have remembered that we went all the way to Maidstone West from Strood. That's where our service terminated, but we're picking up the next service that followed this from Maidstone West at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to go all the way through right to Paddock Wood. Okay. There's a bell to go, and we're off on this next part of our journey as we leave Maidstone West. Now, Maidstone East is actually in the game. It's somewhere in the distance, but when you go and visit it, there's actually no platforms there, so it's like almost like a fake station. So it's one of those things that haven't been added in. And remember, we had a lot of discrepancies about this last time we played, like some of the things that you can now play within the game that really are not necessary. We're not going to harp on about those in this part of the tour. We're just going to take this 375 all the way down to Paddock Wood, and we're just going to continue our journey along the line, and we're going to look at some of the sites along the Medway route as we head down to Paddock Wood. And there's a few little things that might be quite noticeable, things that might catch your eye, and we're going to see if we can notice them as we head along the line. Okay, so as we leave Maidstone, we are now heading on a 70 limit here on this part of the route, and we are literally on the Medway. And as I said last time, you do get this wonderful water that actually flows down quite nicely. I quite like that, and you get a good reflection as well. That is a plus point of the game, I think. It is. But what I haven't tested is some of the extra bits. So if I was to go over here in the country, oh yeah, look, there's an oast house, so you can go quite out. There's like a little farm, an oast house. So there are little things that you will notice in this game that you have to kind of find. And if you're, if you've been playing this route, you'll probably already found them. But there are little things on this route that will just be a little bit different from anything that you've probably done before. It's quite a unique route, and it does give you some really great gameplay. So we're just coming into East Farley now, platform 1, just applying these brakes, and there is something to show you at this station, which I think even I wasn't quite prepared for. It was actually quite interesting. So here we are at East Farley. So what I'll do is I'll show you quickly around here for something that I wasn't aware of. But you've got this boat bit here, but you've got like this bit where they might do the rowing and stuff like this. As you come under this bridge, you've got all these motorboats, the Red Demon. Some of the boat names are actually quite interesting. I think it's just some copycats. But as you come up here, you've got a church, and you've got an oast house to our right. Now, they've not really detailed much, but you can actually see that from the railway, which is right over there in the distance beyond that bridge. So they really have put quite a lot of effort into it, because when you come down here at East Farley, you can just see the church spire over there. And that little bit of detail, even though it isn't a major asset to the game, it just adds that final little adjustment that you need to say, oh look, in the distance we can see a church. And that little bit of scenery, as you can see, goes a long way. It really does. Very cleverly done. So back out on the route. We're doing a little bit of exploring as we go. If I see anything that might be interesting, we'll have a little shufty and a little look. So standard gameplay down here, but you've got a nice little waterway here. Over here you've got just some land which is normal of it, but you've got, like, you can see these pylons appearing in the back, which of course yet again is another distant feature, but they do actually come right across the line in a second, and you can get a much kind of better look at the detail that they've put into this game. So here's one of them pylons that I was on about. Now I don't know if there's any wires attached, but there's another church up on that hill. Let's just have a little meander. Oh, there is wires. There are wires attached to that. Is it the same church? I think it is. Yeah, I think they've just reused it a couple of times. But why not? Now we've got a 40 limit here, which means we've got a temporary limit in place. We're going to just get ready for that. That's a 40 that we're going to get ready for. That's quite easily approachable as we come in for that. And I do see something in the distance that I'm not going to reveal just yet. But if you can see it, well done. If you can't see it, you'll see it in a second. And it's a little feature of the game. You have to unlock it. It's not a natural part of this route. See, it's like one of the mastery awards that you can earn. So I'll show it to you in a very small second when we get a little bit closer. And as we come up this part of the line towards Wateringbury, I think that's how you say it. Wateringbury? Wateringbury. Oh, I don't know. You know what I mean. Anyway, I made myself look a bit of an idiot there, but anyway, we're going to come up to it. But you might be able to see something just coming into our view now. And that does look like, up there, a hot air balloon. And you will be right to see that. Because that is a little unlockable feature that you can unlock in the game, and it's a mastery award. So if you haven't got that yet and you haven't seen it, it can appear anywhere on this route, but it mostly appears around Wateringbury and Alresford, I believe, as well. So it does appear at certain places, but there are common locations for it. If you haven't seen it yet, you need to give it. You need to get that mastery award. I'm not sure what you have to do, but I earned it and unlocked it. So go into your unlocked it. Oh, there's a little caravan site down there. Look, there you go. Little things like this. The sheep are actually now, and I'm going to show you something actually at this station. I think this is the station, but the sheep are actually moving now, and they actually do bleat as well at you. I think there's this new feature where the actual sheep do actually do something a little bit different than what they never used to do. Not sure if it's this station, but I will definitely show you that, because that is a key feature now of the game. This is a nice place. I would like to visit this place. It looks very nice. So out here, we got the standard network rail, which is called now track work rail, which I think is quite ironic. And over here, look how lovely this looks. Look, wouldn't you? I'd love to. Yeah, I think it looks so good. And there's a moving boat just there, going down the stream. Now that is what I call a nice little touch to the game. Now, about those sheep, they're over in this field, but I think they do actually move. Where are they? They're up here. Here they are. I think they actually do move. And yeah, look, they're actually moving now. Look, see them? They're actually moving sheep. That was never in the game before. They were just like little things, but they're actually moving sheep now within the game. Just those little things are just that little bit extra special about this route, and that's why I really love it. It's very, very different. Very, very different indeed. So as we leave Wateringbury, we're off to Yalding next, which is our next stop, which is just over a mile and a half away. And now I'm going to say this, and I'm really going to put my neck on the line here, but I think this is one of the visually greatest routes that we've got on Train Sim World at the moment. The detail that's gone into this is just, well, it is just great, isn't it? I can't really say more than that. It is just top notch, isn't it, really? The effort, the graphics, the extra little bits in it, some are not necessary, but some are very, very good and needed as well. So I really, really do like that about this route. It's a stunning visual route, and I think we've got a lot to learn from this route. I think other routes can benefit from looking at this and thinking, do you know what? How can we make any route better? And there are a few little key things that you can do and take away from it. And I think this is definitely one of those little key things that you can take. Over here. Oh, boughs of hay. And even a tractor, which I don't think will move, but, you know, be good if you came across the line and you had to stop for him, or, you know. But this is, visually, it's a great route. It really is. Now, what's this coming along? Oh, there's another 375 passing us. You occasionally do see, some freight going along this route. But I think you'll see that a little bit later in the game. I'm not sure if we're going to see any on this route this time round. So I'm not sure of the freight times, but it's not heavy on freight, not like the West Coast Main Line, where you're seeing stuff right, left and centre every 5 minutes. It's a little bit different, this one, but there is some freight going on. So we're just coming to Yaldin now. Now, I haven't investigated this station that much since I've actually had it. It's one of the ones that I haven't really fully looked into, but we're gonna have a little look, because I haven't actually had a little look down here yet. Okay, yeah, that's good. So we've got these beach houses. I don't think we can get that far, can we? Oh, we can. Look, got those little beach houses. I haven't actually looked at this properly since I've had it. Yeah, it looks quite nice. And I think over here there's like, did I see a greenhouse? Oh yeah, look, a greenhouse in the back of the garden. Are they growing anything in that? No, it just looks like weeds and grass. Nice little touch though, eh? Nice little touch. So it's always good to look out for things like that on this route, because little things like that have been significantly improved. Right, so we're done up here. We're finished on this part of the route. We're now going to our next station, which is Beltrin, and we're off.
Please travel without them.
So as you can see, you can hear the alarm going off. People have been stuck on the crossing. We've caused a bit of a traffic jam. Look how much the cars are piled up there. It's an awful lot. And look at the other end. Look at that. Now they should open now, with a bit of luck, and we should see some cars coming across this crossing. Let's have a look. There we go. Here they all come. A lot of traffic there. A lot of traffic indeed. Right, okay, so we go on. About another mile and a half to the next station. It's quite equally spaced. Not much to see on this part of the route. It's mainly just like trees and stuff, and even if you go through the undergrowth, it is just tree after tree. So not much to see on this part of the route, unfortunately. But as we get further and further down the line and towards Paddock Wood, you will notice a few little extra things along the way. Now this is quite good. This is like a tip, East Peckham tip, which is just here. I don't know why they call it a tip. Is it because there's not really much over the way of being a tip. Just a bit of a mess, really. But apparently it's a tip. So, interesting. But yeah, you can actually drive a train set. I think I've actually drove a freight train into that place before, so you can muck around with certain things on this route, which is quite good. So we're just coming into Beltring now, which is quite a significantly small station, really, on this route. It's not a massive kind of station, but there is still stuff to see here. Because, if you haven't noticed it already, to the left of the screen, if you look, do you see what I see over there in the distance? Another hot air balloon. I've never seen two in one game before. That is a rarity on itself. Now, I think there's another church over here. I wonder if they've repurposed the church again. Let's see if it's the same church. Yeah, it's the same church again in the distance. Some random houses with a trampoline, and looks like they're trying to grow something, like some vegetables in that as well. So quite a bit of detail, but detail you would never see if you didn't come off the beaten track. So interesting. And as you can see, the sheep are moving around in the field. So, you know, but you would never see that trampoline. You would never see that in a million years. So you've got to ask yourself a question. Why is it in the game? You know, why is so much detail in the game too far away? But you know what? If you're exploring like I am, you expect to see that. You want to see that. And a lot of the routes don't allow you to go too far off the side of the tracks. This actual route does allow you to sort of go off on a bit of a tangent and have a little look. But we got 1.5 miles to Paddock Wood, our final stop on this route, and our final part of this route. And we're going to come, I think, head to head in a second with this hot air balloon, which I'm gonna pass a little judgment on the hot air balloon in a second, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, and it's just eye to detail things, right? Little things, okay, that I think could be slightly improve this route, okay, because we've got such a stunning route here. My theory on this is as follows, right? We go over to this air balloon, if we can get that far, right? So look, we're right up on this air balloon, right? I'm going to zoom up on it a bit. There you go. So there's no one in there, right? There's no fire, like, coming from the thing that keeps the hot air going, and it's not moving in the air. My point is, could that have been something that they could have made a little bit better within the game? You know? It's just an observation. Don't mark me down on that. Over the side here to the left, we've got another repurposed church and another repurposed host house, which is not a problem because it's all minor details of the route. But yeah, just another minor thing. Now we're coming into Paddock Wood, so we're going to slow down. But it is worth noting here that there is a DHL factory right here, and they're actually got the licensing for DHL. So it's not all bad, you know. That I said it in the last game. They've got the license for some of the things like DHL, that, you know, but they can't get it for Network Rail. Now, come on, Network Rail is basically the guys on the track. So you're thinking this is a train sim, but they've got more from a parcel company or a delivery company than they have from an actual rail company. It is a bit strange, but it is good. Over here we've got a little yard. I don't know if there's actually any yard work that you can do over here, whether there's any freight services, but there's a lot of tracks over in this area, so it's worth exploring. There's another train going in the opposite direction. I think that's going probably to Hastings or something like that. And we're now coming into Paddock Wood. And there we go at Paddock Wood. We're there. And that brings us to the end of this route. There you go. A quick look around Paddock Wood very, very quickly. Not much to see. Very built up. Very built up, as you can see. Not really much to see. A repurposed church probably over in the background again, for scenery, decor. And then you've got this main line, which runs through here. And you've got trains in this direction going off to Charing Cross and Cannon Street on this side, which they do fly through occasionally. And over here you've got Dover Priory and obviously Tonbridge as well. Let's see if there's a train coming up anytime soon. No, there isn't. Right, okay. So we're going to close our doors. That does bring us to the end of this route. Thank you very much for joining me. That has completed our little trip on the Medway line. But there is still one other station that we are going to finish this off with. And that is Tonbridge. We will be at Tonbridge next time. So join me then when I will show you the delights of what you can do at Tonbridge. And whilst you can only really go from Paddock Wood to Strood and vice versa, you can go to Tonbridge in the game. And there is something quite unique about it. Join me next time when I will see you on Train Sim Heroes. Thank you very much for joining me.